Hello everyone, how's it going? So Assassin's Creed Shadows is off to a terrible start. YouTube said I should do more reaction content, so let's do it. And when it comes to Assassin's Creed Shadows, look, I'm a fan of the Assassin's Creed franchise. I've loved it since the beginning. But yeah, since Origins, I don't know what the hell has been going on, like turning it into this fantasy epic game instead of a sci-fi opera. It's been very confusing where they started to do weird things. I'm not really sure. And let's just say it, Ubisoft's been on free fall. They've been turning all their games into similar projects to the point that they've become literally the Ubisoft game where everything has towers and it's an open world game. Granted, their open world games are pretty good, but they've basically botched the identity for all their major IPs and turned it into the same thing over and over again. So let's actually get into the video.
Hope you guys have had a wonderful weekend and that we have a great week ahead. However, over at Ubisoft, things are not going so well, as it's being reported that Ubisoft has shut down its studio in Leamington, UK, and fired 185 employees across several of its offices.
Dude, it's not even the beginning of this year has been just such a bloodbath. Like last year was bad, but it's just starting to ramp up. And the thing is, everyone saw this coming when it came to Ubisoft. Like last year, they released Skull and Bones, the first quadruple A game. Prince of Persia, which was apparently a good game, but didn't sell well because they sold it for too much. And on top of it, maybe it's just me, but I felt like with the Prince of Persia franchise, it died the second they did that soft reboot after the original trilogy. And they never continued that game. Like, yeah, it didn't have the same numbers as the original Prince of Persia game, but at its core, it was just like they were like, oh, this is work, let's reboot the game. Then they did that weird movie tie-in game. Then they decided, okay, that's not working, let's do it again and again. And then eventually I just became tired with it. If you're not going to dedicate yourself to a timeline within the Prince of Persia games, then I'm just not going to even bother with it. Then what else did they release last year? XDefiant, which is getting shut down, despite everyone saying it's going to compete with Call of Duty. Now it's just like, really? Are you really that dumb? Like, if they just made it its own thing and just supported it, I think it would have been its own thing. But, like, the fact they tried so hard to compete it with Call of Duty, it made no sense whatsoever. Not to mention the game was really basic. It was fine and okay, but nowadays you can't be fine and okay. Star Wars Outlaws, complete flop. No idea how that even happened, considering that this is a Star Wars game. I mean, the main character doesn't look anything like the actress. The game was incredibly broken. Thank God I skipped over it. I saw the writing on the wall when I saw that IGN trailer for it, and it was just a terrible game. Like, I'm sure a lot of us have seen the videos going everywhere about that game. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, that was technically a re-release on Steam because, you know, they released it exclusively for their own launcher, which is really stupid. Then they brought it to Steam, and you still need to access Uplay. Like, I don't know who made that decision, but I think they should be fired. Like, if you release a game on a new launcher, like Steam, Epic Games, GOG, let the gamer launch the game through that. Like, don't say that you have to launch a Uplay account. The second you create that barrier, I guarantee people would have refunded the game. The second they said play and it said you have to create a Uplay account, I would bet money that at least 90% of the people who bought the game said, nope, I'm out. Like, whose decision was that? That is the dumbest thing I ever thought in my... Like, it's what EA did with Mass Effect. When I got the game on PC because I liked Mass Effect and I wanted to play the Legendary Edition, it said you have to log into your EA account. I refunded that game. I got it for $5. And the $5, I wanted it back because of that one reason. Like, why? I don't get why companies do this. To boost your artificial numbers that no one believes. Like, I doubt any stockholder is going to look at that if they know anything about video games and say, you have 100,000 people on EA Origins? They're going to be like, whoa, how much money are you making? Wait, what did you say? And then they're going to put two and two together and realize that. It's just such a dumb decision. It makes no sense.
The Leamington office worked on Star Wars Outlaws, Skull and Bones, and Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Over at Eurogame.
Also, I saw yesterday they delayed the Division 2 DLC, and the Division 2 is one of their rare games like Rainbow Six Siege that's actually doing well, but they've been destroying their community like for so long with those games. Like, I know I'm harping on a lot of Ubisoft, but I don't know where these decisions are coming from. Like, I want this company to succeed. I like Far Cry. I like Assassin's Creed. But the decisions they're making I don't know who's making these decisions. Like, I want to talk to this person and ask and clarify what their long-term goal for this is. Like with the Nier Automata DLC for Rainbow Six Siege. If they showed that to me and I was a consultant at Ubisoft, I would be like, no, go back and do it again. Like, someone has to say that. It has to be the bad guy.
Gamer, they would further elaborate on this, saying that Ubisoft's latest layoffs come as the company continues to try and cut costs after a string of disappointing game launches.
This was all last year. Just last year.
The shutdown of live service shooter X Defiant, and repeated delays to Assassin's Creed Shadows amidst wider concern for the firm's future. And while this is all occurring, we've got some comedy here with journalist Stefan Totilo trying to hype up Assassin's Creed Shadows by showing coverage of Yasuke Slice and Bam.
This isn't impressive. This is baseline stuff.
Assassin's Creed Shadows yesterday and can confirm that
it's like when companies push, like, hey, look at these realistic facial features. It's like, yeah, this has been happening since the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One days. Like, realistic facial features isn't a new thing. Heck, they did it since the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 days. This isn't new. And most people don't care. Like, I remember when I played Gears 5, there were a lot of people making a big deal about how your tracks remain in the snow after you come back. Cool. But no one cares. Like, no average gamer gives a damn about it. Like, yeah, there are cool details. Like in Batman Arkham Asylum, when you knock out an opponent, they're still breathing to show that they're still alive and Batman hasn't killed anyone. Cool detail. Or how you knock someone off the roof in Marvel Spider-Man, like a little web shooter comes out and attaches them to the building, showing that they're not dead. Like, yeah, it's cool stuff, but most gamers are not going to care about it.
It has excellent bamboo slicing tech. I'll have more coverage of the game and game file probably tomorrow. Because yeah, this is totally going to save the game. A top response in a quote tweet would say, "This is not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not.
Unfortunately, focus on how Assassin's Creed is distorting Japanese history. Over 100,000 people have signed a petition demanding the cancellation of its release."
I will say that I think that's a little overblown. Like, yeah, I understand why Japanese people are angry about this game, 100%, and they have a right to be angry. But at the same time, like, 100,000 signatures, like, do these petitions actually work? Like, I've never seen a petition like this ever work. I've seen so many people have these change.org petitions, and they never do anything about it. No company cares about that. Like, I don't know, it's rather weird. Like, I do believe in the idea that if you don't like something, you don't buy it. Like, you vote with your wallet. Like, that's the only way companies change. They look at something, and if it doesn't make money, they're not going to do it anymore. In this case, I still don't know what the hell Ubisoft has been doing all these years. Because, remember, this has been happening in the last year in Freefall. Like, they had so much time to course correct, and they just refused to do it. But in this case, you are pissing off a lot of people in the homeland of where this game is set. And it's not looking good. Especially when you have high competing games like Ghost of Tsushima and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. When you have games like that did what this game was supposed to do, and you're failing on every aspect to that, where are you going to succeed? Like, the only thing that Ghost of Tsushima has under this is the fact it's going to release on other platforms like Xbox. But other than that, that's not going to save this. Like, the second Ghost of Tsushima 2 comes out, it's not going to be good.
That same person wasn't done there, further saying, Ubisoft's portrayal of Yasuke as a quote-unquote samurai is being promoted as if it were historically factual, leading to edits on foreign language Wikipedia pages.
That's the other thing. Like, as a fan of Assassin's Creed, why the hell did they decide it would be a good idea to use a real-life character as a playable character within this game? It makes absolutely no sense and goes against everything that Assassin's Creed is supposed to stand for. Like, this franchise is a sci-fi epic, where basically the secret organizations have been warring with one another for basically the right to rule humanity. Like, regardless of what you look at it, assassins believe in freedom of choice, and they want to make sure everyone has that choice to make their own destiny true, and Templars want to unite everyone under a single banner in order to make sure that there is freedom and unity among everyone to ensure safety of everyone. It's not a matter whether the Templars are assassins or good or evil. It's a matter that the secret organizations have been warring in the background and influencing history since the beginning. Like in Assassin's Creed 3, Connor talks and interacts with George Washington. He helps him a great deal, but they still remain faithful to the historical accuracy of who George Washington is. Like, for example, Benjamin Franklin is a pervert. He is. He was a pervert. And guess what? In Assassin's Creed 3, yeah, he was. And that's always been the appeal of these games. Like how you interact with Blackbeard in Assassin's Creed 4. Like, he's basically a mythological figure, but in this game, they put him in the game. Edward interacts with him. He's technically part of the Assassin-Templar conflict as they help one another. And Edward, it's a little more complicated, but regardless, yeah, they were always supposed to be representations of their historical evidence, but at the same time, they provide unique ways in which the conflicts continued forward. Like, these characters helped these characters become the people they were, aided in the French Revolution, they were in the shadows doing their own thing. That's what made these games so interesting. But, you know, I don't get why they would say, you know what, this real life person was in the game. They could have put him in the game, but it's just like very confusing direction.
And the spread of misinformation that Japan was actively involved in the slave trade. A book even emerged, creating a fictional legend of a black samurai.
Yeah, Thomas Lockley.
Revealing these inaccuracies. In the second image, an excerpt about Assassin's Creed Shadows from Ubisoft Quebec, the developers claimed they conducted thorough research, consulted historians, and immersed themselves in Japanese culture. Yet their cinematic trailer shows...
Dude, that trailer got eviscerated by Japanese YouTube.
And samurai depicted sitting in seiza, which would be highly unusual, contradicting their supposed commitment to historical authenticity. Some may dismiss these issues as harmless, since it's just a game. But in reality, these errors have already influenced public perception. Wikipedia entries have been altered, and new publications are reinforcing false narratives, creating potential long-term misunderstandings about Japanese history. Consequently, more than 100,000 people have signed a petition demanding the game's cancellation, fearing it will mislead further generations.
Okay, I will say that if you take everything you read on Wikipedia as fact, well, special cases, I guess kids do, but at the same time, Wikipedia, yes, it is a very useful tool. Like, I think all of us use Wikipedia in order to gain a foundation of stuff we don't fully understand, and we use it a lot. But you need to learn how to correctly look up information. Like, Wikipedia does have, like, footnotes and sources that you can check for yourself. You should always check your source no matter what. But I can understand where this person is coming from, but at the same time, it's just like, if you open up a argument and say, well, Wikipedia says this, then you're an idiot. Like, I would dismiss anything you say at that point. Like, yeah, you could use it as a foundation for your argument, but you need to have, like, actual evidence. And again, I get where the person is coming from, but I feel like that's way too overblown. Like, maybe I'm putting too much confidence into actual human intelligence, as I've worked in fast food and retail in the past, and yeah. But in this case, I can see both sides.
And directly in response to Stefan Dotillo and his replies to that tweet, we can see responses like, Red Faction had destructible environments in 2001.
Yeah.
And this one saying, bruh, MGR had better slices.
Yeah.
PS3.
Dude, this game was fucking amazing. And honestly, I love in the beginning. It like there's just this little inner joke where there's a cat, and the cat is so fast, not even riding can, like, I know it's kind of twisted, but I just think the inner joke that cats are so fast, they can literally dodge, like, the most advanced human slicing technique possible. Like, it's just, it's such a funny, cool idea. Like, that's how powerful cats are. They're basically gods.
Lastly, we've got this top response that says, the devs that made that neglected two things. 1, material resistance. 2, weight of the bamboo. Try to cut bamboo horizontally, and be next to bamboo falling. It's a slog.
Yeah. But honestly, if they did that, it wouldn't have been fun. Like, I have a real issue when it comes to knockdown in games. Like, in reality, a lot of that stuff that happens, they're never accurate. You know, like in Dishonored, how you choke someone out and they go limp after 3 seconds. Like, it's gameplay. It's literally that. It's like why I wasn't so annoyed about the whole Japanese houses having, like, trapdoors on their roof. Like, even I knew that didn't make any sense, but, you know, it's for gameplay convenience, so someone can get into the building much more efficiently. Granted, Ghost of Tsushima did it a lot better, so they could have just, you know, mimicked that, but, when it comes to gameplay convenience, it's always hit and miss. I think a lot of us can understand that if you played Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, the idea you can pick up individual cans and individual looting is very cool. But when you skinned your 100th animal, it starts to become very annoying. Like, realism is cool and all, but eventually I think a lot of us would prefer gameplay convenience over that.
Takes us to our very own Permaband, who says, AC fan account trying to market Assassin's Creed Shadows for Ubisoft. Matchlock clips through the helmet, watermelons in spring, or cherry blossoms in summer. Where's that quadruple A quality assurance Ubisoft is touting? And we can see the screenshots included show this AC Shadows, just Assassin's Creed news fan account thing, saying Yasuke during a leisurely stroll, and showing the clipping issue right there and the watermelon on the.
The thing is, I am actually shocked they haven't fixed this issue, because it existed in Assassin's Creed 3. If you don't know, in the original Assassin's Creed 3, even the remaster, Desmond's character model would clip into his backpack. And it was so weird to look at. I was just like, you guys couldn't fix this issue. This was one of the biggest annoyances when the game first came out. Everyone pointed it out. And when the remaster came, they still didn't fix the issue. So I fully understand why this would be annoying, because this happens so much. What the hell? Like, the first time it's like, yeah, it's a minor annoyance, but when it keeps happening, like, why does it keep happening?
Center left-ish of the screen, you can see right there by Yasuke. Someone said, nice clipping issues, and the fan account's like, go crying.
What crying?
It's actually a recurring thing with this fan account, because they seem to have some sort of mental breakdown of people laughing at.
They just keep Are you sure it's not a bot? Like, they have a script program that just writes "go crying" with a series of negative phrasing. Like, let's face it, Twitter has become kind of a Wild West. Like, they say that they have proper policy, they don't. Like, how many of us, if you use Twitter, have seen like the dropshipping scams, the OnlyFans scams, stuff like this happening, rage baiting with verified accounts trying to maximize revenue with fake accounts? It's just like, it's literally just crazy over there.
Yeah, AC Shadows making dozens of responses, as you can see here. Yeah, they're just repeating that over and over again, saying
this has to be a script.
Go crying. And finally, that
it has to be.
To the official.
There are only two. It has to be a script, because if it's not, you have a mentally unstable person who is running that account, and honestly, people like that scare me. Like, I grew up in New York, I can tell you right now, it takes one thing for those people to completely go off the handle. It's just one thing you could say, and it's not pretty.
Assassin's Creed account, where you may have seen this from the other day, where they responded to a clip posted by Nick Tech, showing AC Shadows bugging out in real time after
note to self,
pet a dog
make work in progress appear larger.
The actual official account says, note to self, make quote-unquote work in progress appear larger.
The game comes out in a few months. The work in progress thing is, like, it should not be there. That is scary. Like, you think that doesn't absolve you? That makes it even worse. This game is it's been delayed twice. Like, how bad would it have been? It's like with Halo Infinite. Imagine if Halo Infinite came out the way that when they showed Craig. Like, this just looks so much worse.
Larger. Ubisoft then collectively getting mocked by the majority of people.
Your game's not able to fix the broken AI in a month. Work in progress means nothing. Yeah, exactly. It's what I stated. Nothing while impossible. You're launching a game in a broken state, and you have to, because you don't have the money to delay it further. This is what happens when DEI hired you go bankrupt. Your game has been a work in progress for 4 years, yet hasn't fixed the bugs. Like, this is the truth with most Ubisoft games. They launch with this jankiness, and they fix the game within a couple of 6 months, because they have a bunch of gamers who get the game first off, and then they use them as bug testers. It's like what happened with Star Wars Outlaws. Like, a lot of people, after they said they updated the game when it came to Steam, said it was way better than it used to be. The damage has already been done. Like, this isn't Cyberpunk 2077. Like, in that situation, like, yeah, it is one of the biggest disaster in gaming history, but at the same time, same thing for, like, a lot of people don't talk about it, but The Witcher 3 launched in an extremely broken state. Like, when I played that game on day one, it was broken. Like, not as broken as Cyberpunk 2077, but I would say it was broken as Assassin's Creed Unity. Like, remember when that came out? It was such a dumpster fire. They had to give away the DLC for free just for, like, to say they're sorry. Like with a Halo the Master Chief Collection, when Microsoft had to give out, like, Halo ODST Remastered, a month of free Xbox Live, a lot of stuff. Like, that's the thing. They're absolutely right. This is not something you can just keep waving your hand around, because eventually people are just going to be like, they're not going to trust you anymore. Like, no one has faith in the next Battlefield game after what happened with 2042. The goodwill of your community is an IOU that doesn't work every time. Eventually, they're just going to take that and throw it away. The fact that the game is even close to be considered launch ready before slapping work in progress on it's beyond embarrassing. Imagine the train wreck if this... Yeah.
And the responses saying things like, work in progress and it's 2 months away. And this one saying, you're not going to fix broken AI in a month. Work in progress means nothing when progress is impossible. You're launching a game in a broken state, and you have to because you don't have the money to delay it further. This is what happens when you DEI hire. You go bankrupt. And over at PC Gamer, similarly...
I do want to mention that there was actually a conspiracy theory. Well, I don't know how much a conspiracy theory it is anymore, but back all the way in Far Cry 6's development, there were reports that a lot of senior staff at Ubisoft had left the company out of, like, pay disputes or, like, work practices, and then they came out with those reports about the workplace environment. But there were reports that the people that they had left were just, like, new people, like people who were not in senior level positions, and they would attempt to contact the senior level staff in order to ask them how to fix preventable issues. And the thing is, it corresponded with a lot of issues that were within the Division 2. Like, this was at the height of the Division 2, and a lot of people were complaining to Ubisoft about a lot of problems within the game that took over a year to fix. And, you know, like, the theory was that because all the senior staff left, the people who were on the lower end of the totem pole didn't know how to resolve this, so they had to, like, work 10 times as hard to resolve issues that the senior staff would have resolved very easily. Like, a lot of people started to realize, like, something is going on here. And if you notice from the Assassin's Creed Shadows trailers, like, a couple of months ago, you saw, like, character models sliding across the floor, how the stairs didn't line up with the doorways. It was a lot of really bizarre things that a lot of people start saying, what the hell is going on here? Stuff that didn't exist in the other Assassin's Creed games. And this was after all those senior staff left.
A2 Stefan Dotillo, journalists at PC Gamer, are also trying to hype this game up. For example, this headline saying, I played 6 hours of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and folks, I think this one was worth the wait. The subtext reading.
I saw the previews from a lot of people like Yang Ye. And again, I've played every major Assassin's Creed game. What are you talking about? It's worth the wait. It looks like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, only set in Japan, and apparently crawling on your belly is a new revolutionary technique that you could do in Splinter Cell. Like, when I saw the game, like, obviously I didn't play it because I didn't get... But it's just like when you look at the gameplay, and if you played every major Assassin's Creed game, you're looking at this, and it looks like a 7 out of 10, a 6 out of 10 at most, maybe. But... yeah, a lot of stuff that should have not been in the game are there. Like, one big gripe I have with it at this point is the fact that assassinations are not a one-shot kill because they've leaned too heavily onto the RPG mechanics. Like, that was one of the biggest annoyances for me. I believe they introduced that in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where you couldn't no longer one-shot enemies with the hidden blade. Because I guess they had to, like, fix things and balance it out with the RPG mechanics. But it was just such an annoyance. I was like, you literally jam a spear into someone's neck. They should be dead. But in order to artificially increase the game's difficulty or make the grind longer, that was no longer a one-shot kill. And it just really annoyed the hell out of me. And with this game, they're going back to that. And I'm just like, why?
There's a lot riding on... There's a lot riding on Shadows for Ubisoft, and it's making a fantastic first impression. The same journalist over on PC Gamer had also previously wrote this headline saying, uh-oh, I played 7 hours of Concord this weekend and immediately want back in. So, man, pick a struggle.
Dude, I remember when Concord, like, there were so many articles stating why did Concord fail. Let's not dance around the bush. The game sucked. It had terrible characters. The maps were basic as hell. Nothing about it screamed interesting. And yeah, the gameplay was just average. It was basically Destiny 2 with extra abilities. That's all it was. So why would I play that when you could play Destiny 2 for free? I feel like even if Concord was free to play, it would have still have flopped hard, because again, why play that when you could play a cool game like Destiny 2, which has cooler characters, better abilities, and like, it's just like, let's just state it for what it is. That game sucked. Like, I know a lot of people want to be toxic positivity and all this stuff. It was a bad game. Like, it's just a reality. Like, Sony had so little faith in this that they literally took a L on this, took a $400 million loss, and just said it wasn't worth it. Like, it's same thing what's happening with the Acolyte. It's like, you see all these defenders. I'm like, if the company thought it was going to be a success, they would have put much money as they wanted into the product. No company will ever say no to money. There was no money to be made for these projects. If there's no money to be made, then it goes bunk. Like, in this case, they have to depend on Assassin's Creed Shadow to save the company at this point. But with Concord, with the Acolyte and stuff like that, I know I'm going off on a bit of a deep end, but it's just like, really, I question the common sense for a lot of people when it comes to this. They could be rage baiting. After all, that does happen a lot. Look at how Velma succeeded with rage watching. So that could be a situation. It also could be personal taste. Like, there are some people who like the Acolyte, who like Concord, but a large majority of people did not. And companies will go where the large majority is.
Bro, like, this guy's not just a gaming journalist or PC gamer. He's also a Concord fan, and apparently an AC Shadows enjoyer. Wow, it doesn't end there either. A post over on Reddit would outline more articles this guy made. For example, after 5 hours of exploring the galaxy and ghosting past stormtroopers, Star Wars Outlaws is finally winning me over.
Wait, 8 hours in Suicide Squad doesn't seem like the disaster we're waiting for. It's pretty... Oh no, I play... After Hours, Exploring the Galaxy, past Star Wars Outlaws, finally one winning me over. Oh my god. I mean, this person could just have bad taste. There are people out there like that. I mean, Suicide Squad really hurts me on a profound... I 100% that game, 100% of the DLCs. What game were you playing? Like, what game? I want to know. What the hell? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Over. Our best look yet at Ubisoft's open world Star Wars game. And 8 hours in, and SSK the JL doesn't seem like the disaster.
The thing is, like, this person can enjoy these games, but what matters most is the customer's response. I mean, the large amount of the customers. And if you don't have that, it doesn't matter what these titles say. Like, that's how it's going to be. Like, maybe you might convince a few casual gamers about this, but I would argue that once their trust is broken, especially for men are especially like this, once you break the trust of your customer, they're gone forever. Like with BioWare, with Dragon Age the Veilguard, I guarantee you a lot of people who saw that 9 out of 10 from IGN will never trust them ever again. Like, men are like that. Women, they tend to be a little more forgiven when it comes to products and stuff like that, but when it comes to men, I can speak from experience, and as someone who worked in retail from both male specialties and female specialties. I worked in women's shoes and I also worked in men's suits. I can tell you for a fact, the second a brand betrays a guy, they will never ever pick up that brand ever again. It would take like a titan level of convincing in order to get them to use that item again. For women, it's more or less more fickle when it comes to them. Again, I just speak from what I saw when I worked in retail. But yeah, I feel like in this situation, if you're burned, you're burned.
Some we're waiting for. It's pretty fun. Bro has actually made it his mission, his life's mission, to defend AAA Slav.
I mean, he could like the games, you don't know.
As that's the latest news going on with Ubisoft. Hope you enjoyed the coverage, and if you did, please consider liking and or subscribing to the channel. Appreciate your support.
So yeah, that is the situation with them. Actually, let's look at Ubisoft's stock price. Ooh, oh my god, that is bad. Oh, actually it went up. It went from $2.27 to $4.46. Then it immediately plummeted. Dude, a McChicken cost more than the stock price for this. One stock is about the price of a McChicken right now. Dear God. Let's look at the year to date. No, let's look at 5 years. Ooh. Oh, ow, 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 ow. Ow. Damn. Damn. Ah. That is not good. Like, I've stated this before. I do not want this company to go under because I know Tencent, if they buy the IPs for this company, it's going to be run into the ground. Like, they still have the Assassin's Creed China game that looks good and it's mobile exclusive, which I, again, want to just, like, what the hell? But at the same time, how many times do you have to make the wrong choice before you start making the right choice? Like, you've destroyed the individuality for your IPs. Ghost Recon, Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry all use the same gameplay systems. Stop it. Go back to what made them original. Like, even though, yeah, they borrowed heavily from one another, like with Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed, it still had enough foundations that it was different. Like, Watch Dogs 2, to me, is extremely underappreciated. Like, Ubisoft used to do this thing where they would release the first game, learn their lesson, the second game would be vastly superior. Assassin's Creed to Assassin's Creed 2, Watch Dogs to Watch Dogs 2, Far Cry 3 to Far Cry 4, and like so on. Like, the Far Cry 3 was absolutely banger though, but yeah, it just had so much like flair to it, and then they just decided to take the goodwill of their customers and just shatter it. Like, it just hurts me on my very soul. Like with the Nier Automata DLC collaboration with Rainbow Six Siege, when I saw that, I was like, no way anyone greenlit that, and then they did. If I was the consultant for that, I would have been like, do it again. I don't give a damn what the other person said. Do it again. I would have been like, this is what 2B looks like. Make it like this. I don't care what you have to do. Make it like 2B. But in this case, it's just like, with Assassin's Creed Shadows, I really, really hate to say this because I'm going to buy it. I think it looks okay, but this game looks like a 6 out of 7. 6 or 7. Like, there is no way this game is going to rescue them. Like, granted, Assassin's Creed Valhalla did sell, I think, around 10 million copies. Or let's see, actually. Valhalla sales. Oh, it made over $1 billion for them. It sold 20 million copies. Holy crap. Like, to me, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is extremely underappreciated. Yeah, it's not an Assassin's Creed game. It's more or less like, the way I would have done Assassin's Creed Valhalla is that make that Ivor is not part of the Templar Assassin conflict, but instead he finds more and more about this until he finds out that the Templars and the Assassins have been manipulating everyone into this conflict in order to further their own gains, and then force Ivor to confront them. That's how I would have done it. Like, you know, make a random individual, like with Ethan Winters in Resident Evil 7, where he's just like a normal guy who ends up in this cataclysmic situation. I would have done that. Regardless, it sold well. So in that case, a lot of people were running the hype of the Norse mythology. God of War kind of spurred that up. But in this case, I don't think anyone's really excited for this. Like, well, Ubisoft didn't really do this. I felt like more of the community started to push it as one of those games that is part of, like, the ideological conflict, like with Dragon Age the Veilguard, but granted, that was what we thought it would be with Tosh and all that stuff. But in this case, I felt like if they just didn't do that, they just didn't make Yasuke a playable character and just made the game and just, like, stepped away from all of this and just, you know, just kept promoting the game. They didn't try to do anything. Didn't get involved with all the identity politics. I feel like it would have been a lot better. But then there's also all these issues that have been sprouting up for this. Either way, I don't think this game is going to sell as much as Ubisoft would be hoping that it would sell. I think it's going to end up being one of the next nails in the coffin, considering that it's a work in progress and it's only a few months away. Like, they can't do this again. Like, I don't know what they have to do in order to make sure this game is successful. Hopefully, they can pull it out of the bang. I mean, crazier things have happened. Like with Dragon Age Inquisition, that game was literally in development hell and technically was developed in about a year because they literally had to rush that game out. So, weirder things have happened. And Overwatch is another good example. It used to be the Titan MMO before they changed it into the 6 vs 6 hero shooter and basically put Battleborn into the ground. And now Marvel Rivals is putting Overwatch into the ground. So weirder things have happened. This game could be good. It could be fun. But maybe I'm just being falsely optimistic. So tell me what you think in the comments below. I'll leave a link to the video. You can watch it for yourself while my commentary. Till next time, tell me what you think about Assassin's Creed Shadows. That's it from me. Goodbye.